Despite the status of the founder of YouTube boxing, a record without losses, and an impressive 2 knockouts in one night, KSI is a bad, at best, mediocre boxer. Why? You need to understand that boxing consists of 3 equally important aspects: athleticism, character, and technique. Let's start with the last one. Technique. You'll be surprised now, but JJ's arsenal consists of 1 punch. Yes, you heard right. To be more precise, 1 punch and 2 feints. That's it. Now, let's take a closer look. The main weapon of KSI is the right overhand. It's a fast, powerful, and whipping punch. JJ has learned to throw this punch perfectly. The overhand equally powerful moving forward, backward, or standing still. However, being a fighter of 1 punch is difficult, and it's even more difficult when this blow is overhand. This attack cannot just be thrown openly, it must be masked. For that, KSI has 2 feints. One is a turn of the shoulder to the inside, so he convinces the opponent that he'll throw a jab or left hook. Because of this, the enemy turns his head in the opposite direction, or shifts directly towards the overhand. Therefore, JJ's rivals often look at him with a surprised face when they get hit with the overhand. This blow is often a painful surprise for them, but when the opponent gets used to such a sweeping feint, KSI has a more modest option. 2 is the front arm twitching. With this movement, he measures the distance and throws the feint as he's getting ready to throw the jab. The more he does this, the opponent feels more tense. Sometimes twitching his hand just stops the opponent. Then JJ throws the overhand. However, the second feint has a serious problem. KSI uses it so often that it's become a bad habit. In 9 out of 10 cases of throwing out an overhand, he jerks his front hand a little before that. And these are cases when the feints are not needed. He is just used to pulling the lead hand and then throwing the overhand. Such a mistaken technique can be found even among professionals. For example, UFC fighter Nasrat Haqparast has the same problem. He constantly lowers one hand before hitting with the other. For a long time, no one even noticed this mistake. But when the time came for top-level opponents, his jaw had to pay for that mistake. So, if you have a skirmish with KSI, know that if he pulls his front arm, then he's going to throw overhand. If you have questions, you can go to my personal Instagram. Link in the description. Despite such a meager arsenal, JJ has another unique feature. He often throws 2 or even 3 blows with one hand. This is really unique, because no one throws 3 overhands in a row. It's very dangerous. There's a reason why all the pros only double the jab, and the rest of the punches are thrown in order. Right, left, or vice versa. Because that's a textbook way to throw combinations, overhand spam from KSI feels like something fresh and catches the opponent off guard. Simply no one expects such a brazen and irresponsible infliction of the same blow. There's only one example of a fighter at a relatively high level who uses 1 punch spam. This is the former UFC champion Andrei Arlovski. Almost every opponent after the fight says that the most difficult thing in the fight with him was to catch 3 right hooks in a row. It's so unexpected that it's discouraging and knocks you off the beat. But even Arlovski often had to pay the highest price for this uniqueness. We're talking about knockout defeats. At the moment of swinging for the second or third punch, a counterattack window opens, after which Andre loses by knockout. One of the most popular examples of 1 punch spam was in the Cody Garbrandt vs. TJ Dillashaw fight, where Cody threw 3 identical hooks in a row, for which he was knocked out. What adds fuel to the fire is JJ's stance. Maybe it was because of ring rust, but his jaw was hovering in the sky and his hands were on waist just to attack. Every time he entered close range, he put himself at great risk. A fighter who's able to hit while moving backwards would at least knock him down. Such a stance can be forgiven when the fighter has a good footwork and knows how to be ring general. However, KSI, who takes pride in the fact that he's ready for a dogfight and likes to pressure, does not do it skillfully. He pursues the opponent, runs after him. That is, he's the wingman despite the fact that he's pressing. This running around the ring makes you predictable and gives your opponent the opportunity to manipulate you. JJ should not chase the victim, but cut the ring. That is, cut the trajectory of the opponent's movement. If the opponent likes to move to the left, do not run after him, but already be at the point to which he is moving. Here he runs after swarmz and misses. I understand that swarmz is a living boxing legend and one of the best in history, but KSI had to immediately cut the trajectory, after which to strike. This is not higher mathematics. It's quite easy to predict where the opponent will move. Because of his desire to chase, many of the punches missed, and an open jaw helped swarmz stop the pressure of KSI. Athleticism and character. Now JJ is in great shape. Visually, he looks intimidating, and cardio has never been a problem for him. However, in order to clearly understand the situation, we need to divide all YouTube boxers into 3 levels. Level 1, all YouTubers who took part in the very first events. Basically, these are guys far from sports who dared to try themselves in boxing. KSI, Gib, and others. Level 2. These are influencers with a sports background. They took note of the experience of the previous generation and added their athleticism to this. The Paul brothers, FaZe Sensei, McBroom, and others. Level 3. This is the newest type of YouTube boxer. Many of them have serious experience in martial arts. Anthony Taylor, Tommy Fury, FaZe Jarvis, Salt Poppy, and others. As you can see, KSI is a real dinosaur in the world of YouTube boxing. He needs to constantly evolve to match the level of opposition. From a skinny, fat gamer, he turned into a guy with a good physique. But muscle doesn't mean athleticism. JJ objectively doesn't have athletic talents. His coordination, explosive speed, and plasticity are worse than Logan Paul, or even if you compare him with his brother. In terms of athleticism, he's inferior to him. Yes, Deji comes out to every fight with a belly, but the smoothness of his movements and the speed of his attacks are on a different level. The amount of fat does not reflect the athleticism of a person. One of the most striking examples of debunking this myth was the fight of Joshua against Ruiz, where Fat Andy, on short notice, was faster and more powerful than the jacked-up Anthony. But boxing does not consist only of athleticism and technique. The character of KSI and the desire to work hard close these shortcomings, thanks to which he managed to defeat Logan Paul, who surpasses KSI in everything. This is the beauty of boxing. This sport consists not only of technique and athleticism, it also needs to take into account the character. This is the main weapon of JJ. He's like the Diaz brothers or Evander Holyfield, always in the game and can shock the world against any opponent.
By the way, if you are a fighter or a YouTube boxer, write to us if you want us to analyze your technique or the technique of your opponent.